Well, now let's get to the Heat, one of the teams that had looked like a potential landing spot for Chris Paul. Last week, Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald reported that the Heat could have interest in Bradley Beal, who can sign an extension with the Wizards as soon as next Friday. If Beal turns down an extension, that could reveal his intent to become a free agent in 2021. Nick, knowing this, should the Heat make a run at Bradley Beal? And let's just confine the conversation right now to just making a run at Bradley Beal.
Absolutely, because he's awesome.
Okay.
And if he didn't play on a terrible Wizards team that is under a whole bunch of mess constantly, a lot more people would understand just how good he is on both sides of the floor. So if you're the Heat, you do what you can do to make sure that he is a guy that will line up with the rest of what you're trying to build. And in that sense, absolutely, you do what you can to get him there.
Tim, what's a fit like Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler?
Well, see, here's my deal. Should the Heat be interested in Bradley Beal? Absolutely. But you know who does understand how good Bradley Beal is? Every single general manager in the NBA. So if
Even the Wizards who don't have one?
Yeah, I guarantee he understands how good Bradley Beal is, and he understands well enough to know the Heat have already given up draft compensation.
Yes.
They've got a couple future picks owed by Oklahoma City. So they're down the list of the teams that I'm looking. If I'm trying to trade Bradley Beal, I'm shopping him all around the league, and I'm focused on teams that can give me elite draft compensation, and the Heat have kind of taken themselves out of that mix. The fit with Jimmy Butler, look, I think Bradley Beal would be a fit with pretty much any other talent in the league. I think he's that good of a player, can pass, can shoot, can drive. But again, if you're the Wizards, I think you could find a better deal off another team.
Ladies and gentlemen, in TV, there's a thing called a segue. And when your guy says something that fits in beautifully with the segue, it just gives me tingles. And here's our segue. One person who may be tied to Bradley Beal is John Wall, who's recovering from Achilles surgery. John Wall has 4 years and $171 million remaining on his contract. Now, Tim, let's take that into account. The Heat cannot offer a whole lot of picks. They don't have a whole lot of young talent that they can offer in return. But what they can do is say, give me the worst contract in the NBA, and I'll take it off your hands. If you're Washington, does that sing to you a little bit better than say, oh, here's 2 first-round picks on a young guy?
Yeah, that would certainly be intriguing. My question is, how can the Heat do that? How can the hard-capped Heat pull that off? Because they are playing in the NBA, not in the big threes. They're going to need more than 3 guys on their roster, okay? So, I mean, hey, Pat Riley and his crew down there in Miami, they make the cap math, do magic.
I'm still trying to figure out how they got under the tax with the whole Beno Udrih thing a few years ago. I'm still trying to figure out how they got that to happen.
Anytime you get some good Beno Udrih coverage, you got to go to Amin.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so Nick, let me put it to you like this. First of all, if you're the Wizards, does that move the needle for you more than assets in return, taking a huge debt off your shoulders? But the other thing is there a part where he's salvageable? Could John Wall be salvageable? Is there a scenario, in other words, where the Miami Heat say, look, we come out on the end of this in a year or so, and we got Wall, Beal, and Jimmy Butler?
No.
Okay. I tried.
If you're the Wizards and any team, I'm with you on this completely. Any team says, okay, here's Bradley Beal, but we're attaching the John Wall tax to this deal. Do it. Press that button all the way. Wall is he's not only is he not what he once was, we're not even sure what he may be.
Right.
I'm not willing to roll the dice that he could have some kind of renaissance down the line and turn back close to where he is for all those reasons.
I mean,
when you look at that, if I'm a GM, I want to throw up.
And you're essentially paying all that for 3 seasons.
Yeah,
right. Because one of those years he ain't playing. And the other thing is also, there's an argument that could be made that he was already slipping before he got hurt.
Absolutely.
Right? The Achilles injury aside, he was already starting to show signs of
And he was a guy who was a dominant force primarily because he was such an explosive athlete.
Getting to the rim,
that end-to-end speed,
fast up and down the floor. It's the worst thing in the NBA, and it ties in very nicely to the Chris Paul conversation. When you sign a superstar, and that superstar no longer lives up to superstar money in a contract, you are completely screwed. And the Wizards are completely screwed because of that deal. And the Rockets, in that sense, we're completely screwed because of Chris Paul's deal. And now the Thunder are sitting there going, Uh-oh, what do we do with all this money?
But here's the thing. I think Russell Westbrook also factors in this conversation. He hasn't had the type of catastrophic injury that John Wall has. He doesn't have the age that Chris Paul has. But he still kind of has the same issue that you're getting older and your game is very largely built on faster and more explosive than everybody else, right?
Right, but Chris Paul is the one of those guys who his dominance is up here first and foremost. And that's why, Nick, I think you're going a little too far burying him as far as being a winning piece on a contender. He's just not in that situation.
In that Warriors series, as that guy flopped all over the floor.
Look.
Everywhere.
It's not pretty, but sometimes the thinking man's game, you got to go into weird places.
He's not trying to win style points.
Thinking man's game. I'll take the game that doesn't have those deals attached to those names anymore, okay?
All right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.